Hi guys, my name is Asil and this is episode 1 of my podcast, which doesn't have a name yet, but I do have my first interviewee, who is my brother Ahmad. He is an entrepreneur, he is a content creator on TikTok, he is an author, he has his own t-shirt company. Can I
clothing
share
brand?
that? Clothing
100%,
brand.
yep.
And he is the CMO of Nominal. He helps run Nominal. He's amazing at everything he does, and I'm so proud to have him as my first guest. His content is around human psychology, self-sabotage, confidence, mindset shift, so many subjects. So you're probably going to see him more often than just this episode, inshallah.
Absolutely. Welcome to the podcast, and let's get started. All right.
Welcome to my
podcast. Who thought this day would ever come?
Okay, so let's start with the fact that I've been trying to start this podcast for years.
Yeah, how many you think?
I would say like 5.
Like since COVID?
Yeah, like I feel like Ned and Ayman got me the microphones.
Yep, which we're not even using right now.
We're not even using, but we're using, Ahmed came prepared, which I really appreciate. That helped me.
Well, welcome the audience to the podcast first, and I don't know if you have a name for it, but take it away.
I'm still thinking about a name, but I've been thinking about doing this for years, and I always have something that keeps me from starting, including not having the perfect name. So I'm just going to get started and we're going to see.
That's what I like to hear. Funny enough, last night I almost started my own podcast. And it's kind of nice that I didn't, because like at least this got done first.
Yes. And I'm not going to lie. I kind of was like, is Ahmed going to start a podcast before me?
That'd be crazy. That's a good fire under your
ass. I was so offended.
I like to hear that.
Okay. So my first question is, why haven't I started a podcast? Why do people put off things that they are supposedly excited about and passionate about and say that they love or are really interested in or want to become skilled and talented in, and then don't, for whether that's 5 months or that's 5 years or a lifetime?
I was just talking to a friend, Kareem, the CEO of Veiled, about this like 2 days ago, and he made a really interesting comment about how there's a distinction between liking something and liking the idea of it.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people like the idea of a lot of things, especially because we're in an era of social media where all we see is the final product of something, like how cool a podcast is, someone's career at the summit of their success, and you don't get to see all the ugly stuff, which is usually like 99% of it. Mm-hmm. And so I think for you specifically, like knowing you, I do think there's an element of liking the idea of something, but you're not sure what the details entail. Like, what does it mean to work on a podcast?
Right.
Are you ready for the headaches that come with it, the booking of guests, the scripting, the editing, the microphones, all the technical difficulties? Like, I'm sure anybody with a podcast of more than 20 episodes has probably filmed something for like an hour and a half just to find out they forgot to click record. And it's like, that's part of the business.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, are we recording? I'm not 100% confident.
Yeah.
So, 1 second.
Imagine. From the top.
Yeah, we're good. We're 2 minutes and 40 seconds in. So
good.
Yeah, I think, for most people, they love the idea of something. They love the destination of it.
Yeah.
Like if you could snap your fingers and you're already on episode 31 of a podcast and you have a studio and the mics and you have a videographer and an editor, you're good to go. But it's like,
okay, but
how many points does someone get for that,
Right, but it's not just about points. Like, you've told me before that there are people in your life, and maybe you're like this, that actually enjoy the process more than the end result. Like, if you told me right now, all right, I see you have 5 million followers and you have your own podcast and you're going, then it's like, okay, I've made it. And some people are like, that's the boring part. Like, I actually like to be challenged. So what differentiates people who love the challenge from people who just want the end result? I mean,
I personally don't know really anybody successful that only wants the end result, personally.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're out there somewhere, but I don't think anyone has ever made it in content and explicitly said, I started this for money. I started this for fame. I feel like it's the same thing as I always say, like in medical school, like if you don't love medicine, you're probably going to bail within like, I don't know, a maximum of a couple of years,
right?
And the same thing with business. If you don't love the business and you don't love what you're doing, at the first sight of like friction, you're out because you didn't like the process. And that's why there's a quote that says the man who loves walking will go further than the man who loves the destination.
Oh, wow.
So it really is about like the process. And even Chris Williamson always talks about how like if you're obsessed with the destination and the whole journey kind of sucks every time you embark on something, you're probably going to have a life littered with what he calls miserable successes, where you checked off so many things and didn't enjoy any of them. And so now you got $1 million, you got a podcast, you have some fame, you have certain skill sets that you've spent so long developing and you didn't enjoy any of it. So personally, I don't know anybody who likes the destination.
So in order to just really hone in and get it done, you have to be ready for the journey and not even, is it you just don't even think of the outcome or you don't think of the end result?
I think you should have a vision of where you're going, but I think more importantly, you should have a vision of what that process is going to do to you. So I think I was also watching like a video a couple months ago and it was titled "Overpaying is the Price of Winning." And it was kind of talking about how like the effort that something requires is usually disproportionate to what you're actually going to get out of it. Mm-hmm. And he gave the example of buying a home and you have to outbid everybody else to purchase the home, which in theory and in literal meaning means that you overpaid for the house because now everybody has agreed they don't want to pay that much.
Okay.
So by definition, you overpaid, but you won. Mm-hmm. You're in the house, right? And so I think a lot of people like Akram, for example, are really good at being okay with overpaying and doing things the inefficient way and being willing to mess up. And I think the only thing that can make the outcome worth it, because by definition, if you overpaid for something, that means that the result wasn't worth the process. Right. That's what overpaying means, right? But the one part that's not part of that equation is who you became. So like someone who's interested in running a marathon, I mean, running the marathon's probably not going to be worth all the training and the dieting and the potential injuries and the complete change of your routine. Right.
But what you overcame.
Yeah, who you became from a self-image standpoint is probably that transformation was worth it.
Yeah.
You know, so I think if someone wants to embark on a podcast or a side business, they need to be obsessed with who they potentially will become in the process, not so much like the podcast itself and how many Spotify listeners it has and stuff like that. That can only be worth so much, you know?
Right. Okay. So you've been posting on TikTok for the better half of what, a year and
like 14 months.
14 months, yeah. Okay. And your content is mostly around self-sabotage, human psychology, mindset shifts, overcoming limitations, right? And so many other things. Do you feel like when you were starting the podcast or starting the TikTok that you were thinking, oh my gosh, I want to be a TikToker, I want to be an influencer, I want to have this many followers, or this topic is just interesting to me and I want to post about it randomly?
It's definitely a bit of both. I've always loved content creation in general.
Okay.
I've loved documenting on a personal level. I've loved ranting about how bad Starbucks is on my Instagram stories. Like movie reviews, album reviews.
Pre-boycott, you were ranting
Pre-boycott,
about
I think Starbucks is some of the worst coffee money can buy.
Right.
And so I've always loved content, which I think is a really important preface to someone embarking on content.
Okay. You loved content.
I love making content. I love displaying my opinion. I love making people laugh. I love providing some level of value to an extent where like my audience on Instagram, even on my personal Instagram, would be like, can you review the Taylor Swift album? What did you think of this movie that just came out?
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, so I've already built like some sort of like, not audience, but I built a reputation around, you know, and I think in this era, nobody does that.
No.
I don't know anybody that even posts about a movie they saw.
Yeah.
Nobody. No one is posting about Pluribus. No one is posting about an album that came out.
Yeah.
So I loved doing that.
Yeah.
So I think when I wanted to do TikTok on a serious note, which was like last year, even though I had casually done TikTok many times, many small stints of trying to be consistent, I was definitely in the mindset of, if this is to work, I need to take it seriously.
Okay.
I think the middle is where everything goes to die. I think businesses die when they're in the middle, whether it's price point or quality. If you're in the middle, you're out.
Middle meaning what? Explain that.
Whatever the spectrum is. So like if I wanted to start a furniture business and it's not the low quality affordable one and it's also not the high quality expensive one and I just kind of sit in the middle, oh my God, there's so much competition, right? Wow, so a lot of things die there. I think when you're on the fence about things like starting a podcast or for me, like starting my own clothing brand, nothing happens on the fence.
Yeah.
Nothing. Right. So you really do have to commit. And so for me, that commitment was last September where I was like, I don't know what this is going to become.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident in myself. I don't know this industry at all. I don't follow that many creators in this niche of mental health and self-development.
Yeah.
But if it is to ever become something, now's my chance.
Right.
And I'm just going to go all in on it. I'm going to commit to daily posting. And subhanAllah, you do one commitment mentally, and my first video was filmed on that couch with horrendous lighting.
Yeah.
Not the lighting you see right now.
Right.
I think it was even before we painted the house, so it was like ugly and tan. 1.5 million views.
Oh my
0
God.
followers, 0 following, 0 posts.
Your first video?
My first video got a 1.5 million views.
And mind you, we didn't even know that you started posting. You didn't tell anyone in your life.
I didn't tell anybody in my life. I didn't want any level of friction. I
Right.
didn't want any level of maybe someone I know is watching.
Yeah.
So I just started it, and then a couple days later I realized how big the video got. I continued with my daily posts. Part of me was like, oh, TikTok is probably lobbing me a bone for being a beginner account, which
Right.
probably has some validity to it.
Yeah.
But I just kept going, and then my 4th video had like 300,000. My 7th video had like 900,000. And probably by the end of like that week, I think I hit 10,000 followers.
After 1 week.
And it was from that one video.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so the first video goes out, you get all those followers.
Pretty much,
You post
yeah,
a
yeah.
few more.
Yep. Within
And
like
then-
3 or 4 days, I'll have to go back to check. I probably posted more videos,
Yeah.
but I think the other videos weren't doing great, and the first video just kept going up in viewership, and my followers kept going up. And then once I hit 10,000, I was like, oh, I kind of have something here.
Wow.
Like, that's crazy. You
That
know,
is.
my personal TikTok, which I would sometimes dabble in content creation, had like 3,500 followers, and I was posting there haphazardly for like 3 years.
Right. So what was the difference between what you were consistently posting on for 3.5 years?
It wasn't
Or-
consistent. That was the problem.
So it wasn't consistent, but do you think it has anything to do with just starting fresh and it not being personal and not being
Definitely.
tied?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I do think like TikTok specifically as a platform, this is getting more into the technical
Yeah, yeah,
aspect,
yeah.
but I do think TikTok loves consistency because it's a business.
Right.
So when you're a content creator on any platform, you do need to understand as a business, what do they want from me? Because they want something from you.
Right.
The platform itself is free, but they're making money somehow, and they're
Yeah.
making money because of people paying attention.
Yeah.
So if you're not a trusted creator that can capture people's attention, then why would they invest their algorithm into you?
Right.
Right? But if you come in, fresh page, fresh niche, focused on your target demographic, you post a video, it goes well,
Yeah.
maybe they are lobbing you a bone, but then in that case, show them that you know how to make content that actually captures people's attention. That's what I did. So
Yeah. Okay. So I feel like a lot of people probably don't know this about you, but I do because I'm your sister.
Mm-hmm.
You did not like to read for the majority of your life.
True,
I don't
yeah.
know if you want me to tell people
no, yeah,
that.
go for it for sure. Yeah, yeah.
Because
This will give me more credibility when I do recommend a book or recommend
Yeah.
implementing reading into someone's life. Yeah, for sure.
Yes, you were not a huge fan of reading, and you've always liked writing from a young age.
Yeah.
You majored in creative writing.
Yep.
When did you write like your first like book? Because you were
I wrote
always,
a lot of short stories throughout like middle school and high school,
Yeah.
and then I wrote my first novel in high school.
Okay, and
Like,
people would tell you like you should read; it'll make you a better writer.
Correct, yeah.
And you would say,
There's nothing I like reading.
okay.
Yeah, that
Okay.
was essentially my answer. My answer was always, I am writing what I wished existed.
Okay, but then when you did start reading,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't necessarily those types of fiction and whatnot.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
actually ended up being self-help, development, psychology,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So did you decide I want to become a reader, or were you like, oh my goodness, I love this topic so much, I need to read more about this topic?
Yeah, it's definitely the second one.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I cared too much about being a reader as like
Yeah.
a format of identity.
Right.
But I did eventually come to a wall where I was like, wow, I want to know so much more about this type of thing in life.
Yeah.
And it could be anything. And that's why I always encourage people whenever someone says, actually, it was just the other day, someone had asked me on a TikTok video, reading feels like a chore. What advice do you have?
Right.
And I was like, I mean, I'm probably willing to bet you're reading something you're not interested in.
Right.
Like, why else would it feel like a chore? I've never, since taking up reading, several years ago, I've never felt like, oh, I have to do this. It's a topic I genuinely want to know more about. And I do think there's an element of really understanding reading in the general sense and how magical it is from like a human development standpoint and how far we've progressed as a society because of reading and writing. Like,
course.
a lot of people would argue that the written language is the human's greatest invention of all time, right? It was the only thing that got us to progress as a species, to pass knowledge from one to another. And so I think when you realize what topics you like in life, and then you realize that reading is probably the shortest shortcut to just capturing sometimes 8 to 15 to 30 years of knowledge in 200 pages. And sometimes, I think there's also a lot of rules I learned from Ali Abdel on what reading does and doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
You don't need to finish the book. Audiobooks count. Yeah, you can, like, back on point number one, you can just close the book once you feel like you've either pulled the information from it or it's getting repetitive. There are a ton, especially in this space,
Yeah.
that are very repetitive.
Right.
You can tell the author had like a 1-paragraph epiphany and then had to turn it into like a 200-page book for the sake of the publication or whatever it is.
Right.
So sometimes you're a couple chapters in and you're like, okay, I get it.
I get the
like,
gist.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can skip ahead. There's no rules.
Yeah.
It's your book.
Yeah.
Skip ahead to the next chapter. See if they talk about something else. Go back to the tables of content. See if there's an upcoming concept that they're about to explore. There's tons of books like that. So yeah, for me, it was really just a matter of falling in love with a concept and then realizing that reading was the gateway to actually learning about it. You know?
So if someone is looking to become a better reader, you think find a topic that you are actually interested in. Don't abide by specific rules of what reading looks like or what being a reader is.
Yep.
Any other tips?
In anything in life, just try to find out how to make it fun.
Yeah.
Like romanticize it, buy an expensive reading light if you have to,
Yeah.
light a candle that puts you in the reading mood.
What do you think about people that go to coffee shops and read?
Hey, if that's what gets you to read, do it 100%. If that's the
'Cause I feel
only
like
way,
some people like the idea of
course, they like the
looking-
visual of
the
it.
visual of
Yeah.
I'm reading at a coffee shop, which is nice. It
100%.
sometimes is encouraging.
I'm not opposed to that at all. If
Okay.
that's what gets you to read, there is no harm.
There's no harm.
Yeah.
You need something to kickstart it.
You might as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've rarely even walked into a coffee shop to see someone reading an interesting book, so we need more of those people, so go for it.
That's a good point. Okay, so in terms of your content, I feel like it's pretty variable, and you cover a lot of topics. Like, mashallah, you post a lot, first of all. How often are you posting? How much do you post?
1 to 3 times a day,
Every day.
pretty much every single day. And if I ever miss like 2 or 3 days, I'm
Yeah.
probably coming out of the gates with like 7 videos on that 4th day.
Mashallah.
So I think when we were in Colorado and it was the 1-year mark of me having made content,
Yeah.
and I hit 200,000 followers like the day after. So
Right.
it took me a year and a day
And
to
a
hit
day. We'll
200,000
always remember
followers.
that because we were
Refreshing at 199.9.
in
I'm like,
Colorado, in Vail.
I'm like,
in the
can I just
hotel
hit it
room?"
on September 3rd, like the day that I started content, but it was September 4th.
Yeah, it's
But so 366 days, and then I scrolled through all my videos to count them. Unfortunately, TikTok doesn't have a post counter like Instagram does, so you don't know how many posts someone has.
Yeah.
So I had to scroll, and I was just counting the rows. And I had about 410 videos in 366 days. So on average, like 1 a day.
Wow.
Yeah. And if I ever do take like a week-long hiatus or I traveled,
Yeah.
I'll probably come out of the gates with like 5 a day for
Yeah.
like a week.
Do you like wake up in the morning, you're like, I know what my 3 videos are going to be about?
If I post more than one, then most likely what happened was that I posted the first one and then I got an idea while I was
got an
talking.
idea.
And then as soon as I posted it, I just clicked plus again and then I just recorded the second one.
Wow.
And even like 2-3 weeks ago, I was kind of having like a creative block. So I made one video that I wasn't like super excited about and that triggered an idea. So I made a second one. And literally just something I said at the end triggered a third video.
Mm-hmm.
So I made a third, a fourth, and a fifth. And then after the 5 went up, and I posted them all at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good technical advice, but I posted them all at the same time. And then I decided to make a 6th video about the fact that I just posted
just did
5
that.
and how the creative block antidote is to start and suck at something.
Just do it. Yeah.
And that 6th video got like 400,000 views.
Wow.
And the first 5 sucked.
How motivated are you by views and numbers? Like, how much does it impact your mood, your desire to post again the next day, your excitement? You're like, I'm in a good mood, I'm in a bad mood. Does it affect you in any way, or do you post and not look back?
My mood, not really,
Okay.
because I have so many more things coming that in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't matter. I've also, over the course of 14 months, seen so many droughts followed by my highest performing video of all time. You get what I
Okay,
mean?
yeah.
Like the first week of October, I think when I had come back from my trip to Albania and Paris, I was just, everything sucked. I don't think TikTok likes when you travel. I don't think it likes when your IP address changes. I used a VPN too to make it think that I was in the US while posting. I tried my best to post on US time zone and everything, but
That's weird.
it wasn't working.
Yeah.
And all my videos had like 2,000 to 5,000 views, which is crazy for like having 250,000 followers. And it was like that for maybe 20 days, which was like 25 posts, like 8 rows,
And you're getting how many views?
3,000 to 5,000. Nothing. There's like 3 comments on each one.
Wow.
And then on October 17th, I posted one, 5.2 million. And then 2 days after that, on October 20th, I posted one more, 5.5 million.
Yeah, you have like 3 that are like 5 or 6 million right now.
And they happened 2 days apart.
Wow.
And they happened after a 22-day drought. So I'm only saying this to say the numbers and the viewership and all that stuff doesn't impact my mood,
Right.
especially in the era of TikTok where I know everything can change
Right.
tonight
Yeah.
out of nowhere. Someone can repost it.
Right.
The virality can hit it out of nowhere. Where it does impact me in a really positive way is I love when I feel like I have taught people something that really resonated.
Yeah, so the comments probably is like the
The
most
comments
fun
are the
part.
most fun part.
Yeah,
the
definitely.
viewership and the likes, not so much.
Yeah.
And I was actually just talking to Akram about this. So the 2 videos that back to back did 5.5 million. That was like 11 million views accumulatively. And I like that week I had got maybe 4,000 followers from it, which is not a lot when you think of 11 million views.
Right.
Last week I started a series called Unrecognizable by January.
I was gonna mention.
Yeah, and episode 1 and 3 both did really well.
Yeah.
So not crazy, like 800,000 views and 500,000. So that's just 1 million views, 1.3 accumulative between those 3 episodes.
And how many followers did you get from
And I gained like 28,000 followers. What? Yeah, so I went from like 245, I'm at like 272 as of whenever we're recording this.
I wonder, December 12th.
December 12th. So yeah, I think that loyalty and how valuable that content was gives me more like dopamine and fulfillment
Okay.
than the 2 videos that got 5.5 million.
Okay, so you like the commitment of someone being like, I like this content enough to follow along.
Yeah, saves matter.
Saves.
Saves is a really
Yep.
good metric.
Yep.
Comments, I think it's very rare for me as a consumer to ever comment on a TikTok video.
Mm-hmm.
So someone going out of their way to comment and then seeing other people reply to that comment
Yeah.
and then comments having like 17,000 likes.
Wow, I love
That's
that.
crazy.
That's
You know
so
what I mean?
cool.
That means I've really done my job in terms of taking something that I was blessed to learn
Yeah.
from a book or a podcast or some sort of epiphany.
Right.
And I did right by God in passing that to other
Yeah,
people.
alhamdulillah.
Like if I'm considered the vessel of education,
Yeah.
then that's the metric that really matters.
And I don't know if a lot of people like know this because you just seem like, mashallah, so well spoken and eloquent. And I think you've always been that way. Like I feel like from a young age, you've been able to express yourself very well. Like when did you first realize, like, I'm pretty good at speaking. I can express an idea well and easily, and people have either complimented me about it or like, when did you realize that? Did you ever?
I would say there were 2 different moments. The probably earliest one, I think a lot of people, it did take me a while to kind of realize that I think I knew I was good at it and or that it didn't give me like anxiety, for example, but I didn't know that it was a struggle for other people.
Okay.
I think there's a difference, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's a couple of books as well from the business side of things that do talk about like to find your genius zone, you need to figure out like what is impressive to other people that you don't see the big deal about.
Yeah.
And to me, that's been storytelling, public speaking, verbalizing thoughts.
Yeah.
So the first instance was probably when I gave the talk at the Ignite at ASU, when I was on stage
Yes.
and I gave a talk
Yeah.
to the audience about me picking creative writing as a major, how to follow your passion,
Yes.
jumping out of the plane, building the parachute on the way down.
This is kind of like a TED Talk at.
It was like a
where you
TED
went to college.
Talk-esque type of
Yeah.
event where they chose, I don't know if they interviewed people, but I think they had a bunch of people
They
apply
did,
to
yeah.
give a talk. Then they picked their favorite 10. And then from there, they just made sure that it was a diverse array of topics. And then when we all did our rehearsals to the panel that had the organization under their belt, they were like, he's going last. And I was like, oh. Like, so that meant a lot to me. And I think that was definitely one of the first signals that was like, even in a group of people who are about to do public speaking, you're still the standout.
Yeah.
And we don't want anyone going after you.
Wow.
Which meant a lot to me because I had never been in a situation
Yeah.
where I was speaking about anything really,
Yeah.
to be honest. I did give a couple of like Friday khutbas to little kids at ACA.
Yeah.
So I think there was an inclination
I
of like,
love
I'm
that.
comfortable
Right.
speaking into a microphone.
Yes. And you're a spelling bee champion.
I don't know if I've ever won a spelling bee. I've been second place multiple times though, but I'll take it. I'll take the bronze.
He's a very good speller and he's
silver.
very good at math.
Yeah, exactly. You got a
Yeah.
doorbell in the middle of the podcast? Something being delivered?
I don't know. Should we check?
I feel like that ring knock means something got delivered. Nobody
think-
knocks like that.
I think we
when they-
should check just in case.
All right, I'll check if we're recording.
Yeah. Oh, there's someone here. Oh, we gotta stop recording. Did you already press record?
Yes, we are recording. We're back. It's been about 2 hours. It's nighttime now, so,
And
but
this is literally, wait, you made sure my audio is okay?
everything's on, I think.
Okay.
I hope.
I feel like this is
life.
Back to the way like we started, right? Which is putting off things that you know that you should do, etc. You said that, and you've told me this so many times.
Soda
Hey.
is the third surprise guest.
Yes, surprise guest. I think we should just name the podcast after him.
Added to the list of 85 names. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. I feel like people are always putting off things, right, for one reason or another. And one of them is perfection. You've talked about this, like the need for perfection. something like this could happen and you're like, oh my gosh, this isn't how I imagined my first episode to go. I even feel like I didn't even do a proper intro. Like you were telling me at the beginning, like do an intro. Now I'm like, oh my God, that's not the intro that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I wanted to be like, my first guest is my brother and he's this at Nominal. Like I wanted to like say this whole intro and I blanked and I didn't. And is that what keeps people from taking that step? It's like, oh my God, it's not perfect. And if it's not perfect, then I won't do it. Or is that an excuse?
It's always an excuse. Like I said, and so the greatest gift that you can be given is to be surrounded by successful people. And I think from there you can start to deduce traits that are either common denominators or traits that certainly don't show up in groups like that or people like that. So the first time I had said, like, I don't know any successful people who embarked on what they have with the intent of success necessarily.
Right.
That's different than believing in yourself. I do know a lot of people who started a business knowing it's going to work, but it's not why they're doing it necessarily. I also don't know successful people who claim that they are perfectionists. I don't know a single like millionaire, for example, that's ever said, I'm a perfectionist. Everything I do needs to be perfect. I do think there are so many things in our head that we do want to come out to other people in a certain way. Even when I started my YouTube channel, I wanted my first one to be really refined. I wanted it to be obvious that I know how to edit. I have videography skills. I wanted it to look like this person who must have had some other channel in the past.
Yeah.
The funny thing about nowadays is like, you can just make an intro now.
Yeah.
And then just put it at the beginning of the video.
Right.
And you'd be fine, right? And I think a lot of people also overemphasize how important perfection is, because it's not like we're in an era where perfectionism is even rewarded. Like even if it was a perfect intro, there are plenty of talented podcasters out there that have failed. And their 8 episodes that they did end up doing were all perfect. Wow. Super high production, really nice cover art, such a beautiful backdrop, professional microphones. But it's like talent is almost never the thread between most successful people. It's usually grit, I would say. Grit is probably, and I have a book called Grit by Angela Duckworth, and she says that grit is the only trait that she has seen be the common denominator from whether it's studying certain countries' militaries, to business people, to restaurant owners, to athletes. It's never been talent.
Wow.
Yeah. And she's measured it across multiple metrics. It was a really interesting like scientific approach as to what is the secret trait.
Right.
It's the ability to keep going when things are not great.
I believe that 100%. And I think your belief in yourself is probably high up there as well.
100%.
Like I've been to school with people who I wouldn't say had a natural inclination or talent towards a specific subject, but they were so sure that they were going to be doctors or they had this vision of where they wanted to be, and the way they acted, like I would be like, oh, we have a test tomorrow and like 10 p.m. I'm knocked out because I'm like, I did my best, studied my best. They would stay up all night studying and they would do better. But it took a lot for them to be that person. Not that it took them a lot. Because they knew where they wanted to go, it was worth all the extra effort that I might have not been willing to put in.
100%.
You know what I mean? So it sounds like it's being persistent about something, having a vision, and then being okay with imperfection, you would say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and what's funny is like usually self-image, and I'm glad you brought that up. Self-image is the foundation of everything, because that's usually what gets you to be consistent. Like when you know that you are the type of person who shows up when things are not perfect, then you will show up when things are not perfect, right? But if you're like, oh no, I know myself, I'm a perfectionist, I need it to be perfect. I talk about it in my content all the time. Your mind has no problem making that true. Your mind just wants your identity to be reality.
Your identity to be reality.
So if you think you're a perfectionist and you don't like doing things unless things are perfect, your mind is like, bet, then every single time you think of anything, I'll make sure that you're never in the mood. To the extent where I was actually just watching a video today from Haley Hoffman, who was talking about how
I love her.
Yeah, she's
I didn't
great.
know that you follow her. Oh
yeah,
my
she's
God.
great. She follows me too, which is really cool.
Way.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
but she was talking about how you will literally feel tired when you are on the precipice of doing something new. So you might have felt it like leading into filming the podcast, suddenly start yawning.
Yeah.
Suddenly a little bit of a headache.
Oh my God.
Right? And it's like your mind will pull out, I guess the term is like physiological symptoms. To make you think, you know what, like maybe I'll just do this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Maybe in the morning I'll be more energized. Maybe the lighting will be better in the morning. Your mind will start justifying a lot of things to keep you away from doing something in the now, you know?
And what's the Antidote to that.
This.
Just do it.
Once you do something and you know it wasn't perfect, but you let the dopamine of just doing it take over, you are essentially rewriting that neural pathway of, for so long you've been like subconsciously rewarding perfectionism because you've never put yourself out there. You don't need to face any criticism. Yeah. If there's no podcast, there's no critique. Right? People can jab at like you've been talking about it forever, but at least there's not a body of work for someone to critique. Right? But once it exists, you've essentially had a miniature meeting with your mind being like, see, now we created something and there was no proper intro, no proper backdrop. I don't know if this is the angle we're going to use for future episodes. We haven't even named the podcast yet. But I'm okay.
Yeah.
Right? I'm safe. I like how it came out. I like the rush that I felt. It was a good conversation. I like maybe people end up liking this format, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so I do think the antidote to perfectionism is to take micro steps of imperfections and then document them. Right? Document them either by filming it or journaling it. Today I did XYZ and it wasn't as scary as I thought and it came out great and so on and so forth. And it wasn't as hard as I thought. I think a lot of perfectionism also comes from difficulty.
Yeah.
And I always talk about fear loves vagueness. So like when someone's like, you should start a podcast, you're like, oh boy, I don't even know where to start.
That's
and
so
mics and uploading and then audio files. What if of the video component? And then how do I get it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts? And are there podcasts on YouTube? And you start asking yourself all these questions, which is exactly what your mind wants. Your mind just wants you to get lost in this kind of muddy whirlwind of confusion. That way you're like, never mind. Right? Like I don't even know where to begin. But once you start actually specifying what the steps are, you can feel the fear go away once you start realizing, like, even now, once you upload this, you can be like, I am, number one, officially a podcaster by definition. Number two, if anybody wants to start a podcast, I can tell them how.
Wow.
Right? Which is kind of scary because a lot of us don't feel worthy of that type of identity. Like, don't come to me if you want podcast advice.
Right.
Why not? I know what mics we're using. I know how to set up the camera. I know the composition. Once you upload it to Adobe Podcast or Spotify, you'll be like, wow, I think I understand all the 7 steps that it takes to create a podcast.
It's so crazy that limits you. Just taking the tiniest little step is what has prevented me all these years. I mean, it's probably a mixture of things.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like being in front of a camera or this, and that's what maybe next time we'll talk about is the labels that you give yourself and the identity that you have built and how to create a new identity. I feel like that needs its entire episode on its own. So let's talk about that next time.
We will.
But let me ask you a question before we go. And I'm just going to pick one of the many that I have.
Okay, sounds good. Last question of episode 1.
Oh, that's so hard. It's such a long list. I don't know where to start.
I'll be back for episode 4.
I have to do other people before you?
That's your challenge.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I can do that. All right. Some of these I already asked you, just naturally in our conversation. There is a video of yours where you talk about when inspiration strikes that you should create something immediately. So expand, because that's kind of on topic, I would say, for what we're talking about right now. Why immediately?
Inspiration is very fleeting, and I think it is a spark that a lot of people rely on. A lot of people always ask, like, how do you do something? How do you motivate yourself to do X, Y, Z, right? And so that right there does show the value and the crutch that we put on motivation, right? We're really waiting for it as if it's like this guest that's going to like fly us to the moon, right?
Fear.
So the least we can do is that if and when it does show up, get on, right? So, and honestly, this type of stuff like has changed my life. Like it's changed our life because even something like painting the house, I can feel the first friction point is I don't know who's going to paint it, right? And I like giving tangible, actionable friction points, right? So just today I was actually talking to my friend Derek about there's a way, and I'm probably going to do a video about this soon, there's a way for you to detect where the resistance sits inside the goal. And I don't know if anybody has talked about this, so I feel like I've just kind of created this concept out of nowhere. So the goal is not one thing, right? You want, it's a process, right? You want to create a podcast. It's not one goal. There's something in it is giving you anxiety, right? So I like to start asking myself like this hypothetical question of if I could snap my fingers and get to some point in the goal, and then I'll take it from there. What is that point, right? And that'll usually reveal where the resistance sits, right? So when we wanted to paint this house, if you had told me the person painting will show up at your door ready to go, I'd be like, oh yeah, I could feel it. I can feel it in my chest. That's the problem.
Oh.
I don't know who's gonna paint it.
Wow.
Right? I don't know how to find the person. I don't know how to negotiate rates,
Right.
whatever. But if you said the person will show up tomorrow and we've already confirmed that it is within your budget and the quality's good, really good reviews, and he'll be here tomorrow. I'd be like, oh, amazing. All the resistance is gone.
Okay.
So you've already revealed that the resistance is in finding the painter. And it's
Right.
important to name where the resistance is. Because like I said, fear loves vagueness.
And it could have been anything. It could have been, I don't know the paint color.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
But for you, in this example,
For me, it was the painter and the budget,
Right.
right? I don't know who's going to paint it. I don't know if I'm getting a good deal.
Yeah.
So, to go to your question on like, so the reason I had called our painter was a moment of inspiration. There was a moment that I was just like, have you ever woken up kind of in the mood to clean?
Yeah. Oh, of course.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
How
Especially
much
when you
more
haven't-
fun is it
Yeah.
when you're like, I'm actually in the mood to like clean up my room, empty my closet, light
Right.
a candle, clean my bathroom sink, like
Especially when you've been avoiding it for the last 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you know you need to clean it. So I think the least we can do is to do something once the inspiration comes. And I think the reason that's so important is because the inspiration, like we said, is fleeting. So it's going to leave. But at least when it leaves, if you acted fast enough, you will have something to show for it. And then that becomes your new fuel.
Right.
And now the momentum begins.
Yes.
Right? But it's like it's literally, I think a spark or a push is like the best way I can physically manifest what inspiration feels like.
Yeah.
It really is like, man, for some reason I'm in the mood to clean today. Okay, yeah, go. Right? Clean it so that once it leaves, you have a clean kitchen and you're like, I guess today's the day I'm taking my car to the car wash.
Wow.
Right? And now you're gonna go do something else. When you go to the car wash, you're like, actually I've been putting off like checking that couch in person.
Right.
And then it starts rolling into momentum. So I
Yeah.
think inspiration can create a lot of momentum. I mean, waiting for it is already a red flag,
Right.
but if you did wait for it and it finally showed up at your door,
Right.
it's gonna go to somebody else, if you don't act on it. So
That's interesting. So, okay, on the opposite side of that, in your series, your most recent series about being unrecognizable by January, you talk about the non-zero rule.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Non-zero rule, okay? Which is when you don't have that moment of inspiration. What is that rule? Like, explain that to
So the non-zero rule was something I kind of came across, I think probably in college when I participated in something called NaNoWriMo, which was National Novel Writing Month, which happens every November. Writers essentially across the world kind of just enact like this self-committed challenge where they have to write a book in 30 days.
Oh, wow.
And the only way really to get through it is to commit to like you can't have a 0 day, right? Because on average, if the book has to be 50,000 words, you have to write 1667, like 1,667 words a day to get to the ending, which means like the least you can do is just not have a 0 day to not mess up your average. And yeah, I mean, it's a popular framework in terms of like you can lower the bar, you can definitely slack, you can slow down, but you can't do nothing. Some people rewrite the framework as like you can't miss 2 days back to back. So very common in the gym. I can take a day off whenever I want. I just can't take 2 days off in a row, right? Because that's when the habit starts to weaken. The momentum starts to build against you. You start forgetting what it's like to go to the gym. You don't even know where you put your gym shoes. Things can reverse very quickly. So I think for me, the non-zero rule is a way, to kind of create an antidote to, people having the tendency to wait for inspiration. When you have non-zero mentality, it feels like you're kind of creating your own inspiration with tiny little bits of results, even if they don't seem impressive.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, to me, like the non-zero rule is about creating a system where you have respect for yourself and you do things even when you're not in the mood for it.
Yeah.
And then pretty quickly, sometimes within 3 days, maybe 7 or 10, you have like a pretty decent pile of evidence where you're like, I actually know how to make progress, even and especially when I'm not in the mood to, you know?
So even if it's the smallest thing, you think that can build into a point where you basically never stop doing that thing?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like every time someone has a question about the gym, like what's your number one advice about going to the gym? I always say go when you don't feel like it.
Wow.
You will feel unstoppable.
Yeah.
And then all the other days, like especially if you go, like if you're slightly sick or you go like, let's say on your birthday, right? A day that you really don't want to do anything or whatever it is, or a day after work or a day after travel. Every other day becomes significantly easier.
Yeah.
Like the next day you're like slightly tired, slight headache, but your mind is, whether you like it or not, talking to itself, kind of trying to make sense of what's going on in your head.
Yeah.
And it's like you just went 4 days ago after flying in from another state. You're gonna skip today because you have a headache?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Let's go.
Right.
So sometimes if you can stack enough micro wins, your mind actually starts to bid with you. Sometimes it's against you, but sometimes your mind will bid with you if you've shown it who we are.
So it's really changing your self-image is what you're doing by doing that.
Everything, James Clear says, every action is a vote for who you want to become.
Wow.
Right? And Stephen Pressfield in The War of Art says, whoever procrastinates today will face twice the difficulty tomorrow. And why is he saying that? He's saying it because you just told your mind it's okay for us to procrastinate.
Exactly.
Right? Now it clings onto that self-image, and then tomorrow comes, well, tomorrow becomes today.
Wow.
Right? Tomorrow will be today. And your mind will be like, but you just said it's okay to put things off if they're not perfect, or if we're not in the mood, or if we have a headache, or if we're tired. So we're just trying to keep that alive. We're trying to keep that identity.
With
yeah,
that.
we're
We've
okay with
already
that.
determined that through our action.
100%.
Wow, that's a great place to end this.
Yes.
Let's do the intro.
Let's do the intro.
Okay, ready?
Ready. So there's even part of it now.
Okay, so there's a part of the intro. Hi guys, my name is Asil, and this is episode 1 of my podcast, which doesn't have a name yet, but I do have my first interviewee, who is my brother Ahmad. He is an entrepreneur. He is a content creator on TikTok. He is an author. He has his own t-shirt company. Can I
clothing
share
brand.
that? Clothing
100%,
brand.
yep.
And he is the CMO of Nominal. He helps run Nominal. He's amazing at everything he does, and I'm so proud to have him as my first guest. His content is around human psychology, self-sabotage, confidence, mindset shift, so many subjects. So you're probably going to see him more often than just this episode, inshallah.
Absolutely. Welcome to the podcast, and let's get started.
And let's do it together. We should have one together.
So what I can do is I can post this episode on my YouTube channel.
Okay, but
once it's ready.
But what if it's like a brother-sister podcast?
Oh, we're both doing the podcast permanently?
Yes.
I don't know about that.
Okay, maybe.
Maybe. Shaking on a maybe must be like a record. Who shakes on a maybe?
No, the shake made it for real. The maybe tricked
What,
him
like
into
we are the
shake.
co-hosts?
Let's be co-hosts.
I have to do my own podcast.
Okay, we'll both have separate podcasts, but then one day we'll do like a fusion.
Little fusion, for sure.
Okay.
It's like when Jimmy Neutron fused with whatever other show in the Nickelodeon.
Exactly. Thank you. Best episode. Thank you.
Well, we haven't started the episode yet. Welcome to episode 1.
Oh, welcome. Yes.
All right, good stuff, man. I'm proud of you.
Appreciate it.
That was a
Thank
good
you.
conversation.
That was good. The next one's going to be about identity, and I have so many questions about that, Ahmed.
Oh, I'm excited.